he's playing, he is playing my favorite deck, the blue-black deck.
Yes.
And he is going to be playing against our challenger, Josh from Seattle, who will be sporting the red-green deck. Red-green, lots of creature, lots of armor, lots of cleave. Exactly what blue-black doesn't want.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he is definitely not Slacks. Lane starts pretty fine. That Sorlakan surviving is actually nice.
That's a rarity.
Yeah, if she faces against any of the heroes, tends to die, but Lycan with that 4 health, not enough. Sorry, for 4 attack, not enough. And again, hero surviving in all 3 lanes, that will give him some flexibility as to where to put that Zeus, but at the same time denying the opponent the goal to like maybe get that one like large item at the beginning of the first shopping phase. You don't want to see that Blade of the Vigil coming out really soon, and you don't want to see like some of those nasty items this deck brings.
Our challenger deciding between 2 great choices. He could develop another Bronze Legionnaire to maybe...
Man, I smell the pizza. Sorry. It's really distracting.
All right, Bronze Legion is going to come down. Had he put it on the left side, would have actually given him a chance to poke down the Necrophos.
Yeah, but again, like, I mean, every time that you can put damage to a tower when it's handicap, it's good.
It's good,
So,
yeah. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, you know, I kind of went back and forth with, like, damage to the tower that's not lethal, yes or no, right? And like, like Poised Strike, hitting +4 to a tower.
Sure.
Do it earlier, do it later. Like, Magic kind of taught me, like, no, you save that for the burst, right?
Sure.
And I kind of go back and forth, and right now I feel that, like, whenever you can push a little bit of damage to a tower, you just do it.
I agree. I think the heuristic that you learn from Magic might not apply so much here. Because by pressuring every tower equally, your opponent is just scared. They don't know where to deploy the hero. You don't know what lane that you're going to eventually push. So I know exactly what you mean, and I support that decision.
Yeah, that's why sometimes it's not the greatest play, but it's not entirely crazy to see, for example, like a duel in lane 1 to kill a creep in front of a Bristleback, for example.
Right.
To bring damage to a tower or spend something like that, some way to clear. Absolutely, if it's a Sorlakan, right? Like if you had a grazing shot here, you'd use it 100% of the time.
Yeah. I see some perfectly calculated math play coming out from definitely not Slacks. And this play speaks for itself, because Slacks would not see this play. We are going to see a better late than never, which gave a creep to the final lane, proccing the static once.
Oh, look at this.
And now we're going to see the best strafing run ever.
Oh, opening the path for Zeus and for Sorlakan, putting 15 damage to the tower. That is 3/8 of the total. That's a complicated fraction.
That is the power of math, what we just witnessed there.
Math will win games for you.
Definitely not Slacks.
Definitely not Slacks. Will win games. And here, that's another situation. Like, well, you can use that tool and get rid of that creep that is going to die anyways, or you can save it for later. The difference is putting 6 damage to that tower. He chooses to not do that because that duel might be useful later.
Sure.
And holds it. On the downside, he is opening definitely not Slacks to play something from his hand. And he does have a spell that he might want to play, but again, playing Dimensional Portal right now is sending a message that you are committing hard to this lane.
Okay.
And trying to make a strong push.
And now this is where Grand Melee becomes pretty good here.
Oh yeah.
Although with that said, he will lose his own melee creep.
I think that's still fine.
Okay.
Because Grand Melee is fantastic with Bronze Legionnaires that have 2 armor and don't care about that cleave. And he still has hero where his opponent does not. And if he wants to have a hero in that lane, he will have to deploy Crystal Maiden, which again is fantastic when you have a Grand Melee because she will probably die to the side effects.
Are we going to see a duel here? Yes, we will. This duel I'm a bigger fan of because it not only kills a hero, denies the black spells, but you also push quite a bit of damage.
And nothing on your side dies by clearing their board and putting a lot of control. The tower is at 15 health. You're essentially saying, this is where you have to put your Crystal Maiden, and if you don't, you will lose your tower.
I think Sunsfan might just lose the tower there. He might just say, look, I give up the last lane and I'll focus.
Ooh, that was spooky.
By the way,
Commander, though, I think you put in lane 1.
Yeah. By the way, both those creeps spawning on the left side, perfectly planned by definitely not Slacks.
Yes.
I see Assault Ladder in hand. I see another untested grunt in hand.
Totally calculated.
Yeah. This tower might just be dead right now.
Could be.
Right now.
By the way, where are the Disciples of Nevermore? I don't think I've seen it in a single game today.
Well, very lucky arrow though. Will block Sorlacon's big hit.
Yep. Still fine. Have the Oglodi Vandal, have the Assault Ladders. You can put a lot of pressure here, even the Dimensional Portal if you want to go really wide.
Sure.
You might want to save. Well, that's a question. Right? It's interesting. You probably want to have that wherever the Grand Melee and the Blade of Vigil aren't. But since definitely not Slacks doesn't know of the presence of these items, he might be falling into a trap right here.
Personally, I like against a red deck to make the board as wide as possible. And the nice thing about that is if the board's really wide, then cards like Berserker's Call like really loses its
Oh
effect.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I would actually just go Dimensional Portal here, but he's also obviously thinking about the next lane, which I think CM wants to cast the portal there.
Untested Grant going to the left, as he's correct. If it was going to the right, it could do some damage to a Legion Commander, but not enough damage, first of all. And second, the retaliate from Legion Commander would just kill that Grunt.
Yep.
It's essentially like walking into a wall of spikes.
Okay, a big hit here for 9.
And here's where there's some options, mostly related to cleave by the challenger. Well, he played the Grand Melee here, and that will not help. That will help him some, but it will not help him much because it will only kill a creep that he's already killing. Also, the Blade of Vigil, same thing.
Okay, Dimensional Portal is going to come down. And that's a bit of sizable pressure thanks to that Assault Ladder.
Yeah, and that's 16 damage. It's 4 per creep.
Yeah.
2 + 2 from the Assault Ladders. And definitely not Slacks. Choosing to sacrifice that third lane, but putting a lot of pressure in the first 2.
Yes.
And again, this is a deck that, the way things are going right now, definitely not Slacks is not scared of potentially losing the Ancient because there's just not that much power right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 3-turn Ancient kill to 4-turn Ancient kill.
The red-green deck is really good at dealing the 30-40. Very poor at dealing that last 80.
Yep.
And a challenger even gives up priority here, or rather initiative, by casting the Grand Melee, which I'm not sure how important it is. I feel like it's perhaps much, much more important to keep that priority for things like Duel and Berserker's Call.
At the same time, there's no coup de grace in the other deck. There's no really powerful initiative spells.
There's Frostbite. Frostbite is
Frostbite is actually very OP
yeah.
in this situation.
Frostbite is a back-breaking spell against
Red.
both Duel and Berserker's Call because you can't actually do those spells. So we'll see whether a challenger is going to try to protect first or second lane. And it looks like it's going to be followed to the second lane. The first lane is going to get conceded. And I think for the arrows though. The arrows though.
The arrows get the Sorlacan to aim at that Legion Commander. That Legion Commander is going to die because of that. However, a lot of damage is prevented to the tower. It wouldn't have been enough damage to kill the tower with the move from 16 to 1 health. And then again, there was also the Ogre Conscript if that needed to happen. So, all in all, kind of a neutral situation. It feels like the arrow wasn't playing his way, but at the same time, had it done that, there were options for our challenger to stop that Sorlacan. Remember, there's a lot of creeps in this deck, and the chances of Sorlacan being uncontested and hitting that tower are very, very slim.
You know, given how the situation has developed with those 2 arrows, I really like. I was gonna say I like putting down the Ogre Conscript either in front of the Zeus or the Sorlacan, and say, look, this is the real lane that I'm gonna fight in now. Because if you look over to the mid lane, Conflagration is actually gonna take down Pugna.
Yes.
And there will be no defense after that.
Yep. There's some creeps that could be summoned to stop some of the damage, but the damage here doesn't come from any single strong source. The damage comes from a lot of little creeps, and that Assault Ladders stacks up that damage.
Yeah, that is the true source, and well planned here by Sunsfan to make sure that the Pugna dies at the precise moment with the Conflagration.
And here it comes. Boom, 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 boom. And there we go. That also buffing the Necrophos as well, giving him enough health to survive. There we go.
And I do believe that's it.
Well, also disabling the Grand Melee, right? So that is a lot less damage coming to the...
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think the Grand Melee is gonna be doing anything in the grand scheme of things. Because look at what he has in his hand. Definitely not Slacks. Ugolati Vandal gonna represent 8 more damage to the face.
Yep.
Actually 10 more.
10 more, yeah.
10 more damage to the face. So it's looking real rough here.
Yeah, and if you are the challenger, you might be thinking maybe I can put this Medieval Blacksmith in front of, the 3 damage creature. That gives a little bit of buff to Lycan, who is now out of range of that conflagration for future turns, stopping some of the damage. But yeah, Glody Vandal comes here, and that's like a slap on the face because it's 10 damage for 4 mana, and with 2 mana remaining, there's not much that our challenger can do.
And I think this game is a classic example of trying to save too many towers at once.
Yes.
I think at a certain point you need to make this decision of, look, I'm gonna lose at 1 tower, and that's okay. This game is best 2 out of 3, right? It's okay to lose 1. If you go back a previous turn, Sunsfan says, look, you already beat me in the final lane, so I'm not gonna put any more resource there. I'm gonna commit my resource elsewhere. And that's why he is so far ahead. Yeah,
and here's how it shows, right? Again, putting that with the Savage Wolf, he could be threatening at most 20 damage to his Ancient. That's going to be 3 full turns to get that Ancient from 80 to 0, assuming he plays some other creeps on top of that. That's really not enough because, on the other hand, the first lane has no heroes coming back.
Yep. This game is over.
I mean, there could be some creep deployment.
Technically not over. You're right, you're right. But we need some creep spawning and some arrows.
Hey, one single creep could stop all the damage here. That red mist ball helps a lot, though.
Yep. Game's not over until it's over.
Let's see. There we go.
Okay.
Creeps are going there. There's
a lot of arrows. Oh, but it's not blocking Sorlakan.
That's gonna be game.
That's the big hit.
Will we see a Thunder Ghost Wrath, celebratory Thunder Ghost Wrath?
Sure, why not?
Oh, it's a celebratory VM.
Assault ladder, fair enough.
And with that, our challenger is thinking, what can I do? Can I do something? Can I heal something? Probably not. And there we go.
Yeah. The blue-black deck prevails off of very well hero placements for definitely not Slacks.
Yep. Well played by Sunspan, well played by our challenger as well. He got to see, I think, a matchup that is really hard to play for the blue-black, but Sunspan showing why he is one of the champions here.